you don't get a predicament in your life so that it can manage you. You have to manage it. And until you identify it, until you tell yourself that, you know what, I'm going to do something about it, be it seeking therapy, be it talking about it, be it crying or healing or studying, it's going to manage you. Greetings and a warm welcome back to my channel. My name is Dabea for those who are new, and for those who are returning, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Please make sure that you're subscribed to the channel so that you become part of the family and that you become notified, every time when I post a new video. This channel is all about growing, learning, So yeah, today's video is about keeping your faith when you have reached rock bottom. And I know that a lot of us, when it seems like when it seems like we are losing a lot of things or valuable things or things that we treasure in our lives, and not only things but people as well, we tend to lose God as well. We tend to lose our faith as well. So today I'm delving into that. How do you not lose your faith when it seems like you are losing all the things that you are treasuring, when it seems like you are losing all the people that are valuable in your life. So I'm going to reference to a certain story in the Bible, the story of Job, right? And I'm sure a lot of you probably know the story. So yeah, I'm just going to get into the summary so that I can, get into the lessons for today. So according to the Bible, right, we are told that Job was an upright man. We are told that he is a man who feared God. And not only that, but he loved God. And I think this is because, and I think this is why he was blessed with so much substance, right? The Bible tells us that he was blessed with riches. In other words, he was wealthy, right? And God took pride, in the fact that Job loved him. God took pride in that. And when we read down there, it tells us that the enemy went to God and he said, you are taking pride in the fact that Job loves you. But what you don't realize is that Job loves you simply because of the substance that you have blessed him with. Job doesn't love you because of who you are, right? And God is like, no, Job does not love me because of what I have blessed him with. Job's love for me is very genuine, right? And the enemy is like, okay, let me test that. Allow me to test that. Allow me to try to detect where the love for you is coming from, or where is it stemming from, right? So God gave him permission, right? He allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do, but then he told him that in the midst of what you are doing, make sure that you spare his life, right? In other words, don't kill him, right? And the enemy went ahead and he literally made sure that he wiped everything that Job had, like. So when that happened, right, Job still continued. Job still continued with his praises, with his prayers, with his worships and all that, right? And the enemy went back and he's like, no, this person doesn't love you. Don't be too sure. Don't be too sure. This person doesn't love you. But allow me to introduce an illness into his body and we will see, right? Maybe he was still worshiping and doing all that because you had allowed me to take away or to wipe away all that he had owned, but that was materialistic. Allow me to introduce an illness into his body and see if the love for you is still going to be all burning and all that, right? So God allowed that, but he said, remember to spare his life when you are doing that. So the enemy went ahead and he introduced an illness into Job's body, and Job got really sick, to a point where his wife told him that, I see that you're praising, I see that you are worshiping, I see that you're still praying, and all these things, but you have lost all the things that you once owned. So why don't you just lose God? Because now like it's just not happening anymore. Why don't you just lose him? What are you praying for? If there's nothing to be praying for, right? And Job rebuked her, right, and said, don't be like other people, right? I came into this world naked and I shall return naked, right? And what stood out for me, in the story of Job is that in the midst of everything that Job lost, he did not lose his faith. In the midst of everything that Job lost, he did not lose God. And I think Job is the perfect example of someone who loves God, not for what he can do, but for who he is. Job loved God not for what he could bless him with, but Job loved God simply because God is God, simply because God was God in his life. And I think this is something that we should, take into account, right? This is something that we should learn, that faith is not trying to be positive. Faith is not thinking that God will see you through. Faith is not thinking that the promises of God for your life are true, right? Faith is knowing that the promises of God for your life are true. Faith is knowing that God will see you through. Faith is being positive. It's not trying to be, it's being positive. It's knowing that the word of God is true. It's knowing that I might not be where I want to be, but I'm exactly where I need to be. Faith is knowing that I might not have the things that I want, right? But I exactly have the things that I need. That is faith. That is faith. It's you being able to say, it's you being able to see past what you're experiencing. It's you being able to see beyond what you are currently experiencing, right? It's you being, at school and seeing that, oh my goodness, course is chowing. But I see myself graduating. It's you being able to recognize that, oh my goodness, I don't have anything to eat. I don't have money currently, but I know for sure that the promises that God has for my life, trust me, they are going to make me wealthy. I'm going to be wealthy. Whether people like it or not, whether I like it or not, I am going to tap into the blessings that God has said about my life. It's being able to see past what you are going through, right? It's being able to foresee that, well, things are not going to remain the same. There is life after what I am going through, right? And I know that, some of you are saying, but I've been praying, I've been worshiping, I've been praising, and things are just not going well. I've been keeping the faith, but how do I continue? Like it seems like things are just not happening. Things are just not coming together, and I've been doing what you're telling me to do. I've been loving God for not what he blessed me with, but for who he is. I've been doing what you're telling me, and currently I am not feeling the presence of God. I remember I was talking to my friend the other day, and she was telling me that she's no longer feeling the presence of God, and she's like, at this present moment, I'm not feeling God. At this present moment, I've been praying, I've been worshiping, I've been doing what you're telling me to do, but I'm just not feeling God. I feel like God has deserted me. I feel like God is no longer here. I feel like God's presence has left me. What do I do? And I'm like, the fact that you're telling me that you are no longer feeling the presence of God tells me two things. Firstly, it tells me that you know the presence of God. Secondly, it tells me that there was a point in your life where you felt the presence of God, and that is a good start. I'm one person who believes that God does not call the qualified, but he qualifies those that he calls. He does not call the equipped, but he equips those that he calls, right? And the time when you were feeling the presence of God, I believe that that is the time when God was equipping you. The time when you were feeling the presence of God is the time when he was qualifying you for the season that you are currently facing. You are where you are now, not because you are not equipped. You are equipped. You are prepared. I believe that God is a God of preparation, and that means that whatever season that you are in, God prepares you. Whatever season that you are in, God alerts you before you get into it, right? Sometimes different seasons, right, they surprise us, and we like, I didn't see this coming. But we should understand that God, at the end of the day, God kept his end of the bargain, right? He tried to inform us. He tried to alert us. He tried to prepare us. Us not being prepared is on us, right? Us not being ready and being caught by surprises and all that, that is on us, but that is a story for another day, right? And I take this like a coach. You know, when you have a coach in life, or let's say you are preparing for a match, right? And there's a match that is coming, and you are preparing, you know, with your coach. Obviously, your coach is going to be there, you know, to help you prepare or to help you ready or to help you get ready, you know, for the match, right? And when you guys are in the field, he is going, oh, you guys are going to be almost within the same proximity, right? Why? Because he's with you. You guys are playing together. You guys are preparing together, right? He's telling you the ins and the outs, right? He's telling you how to attack your opponent. He's telling you the things that you should do, the principles, the techniques, you know, the strategies that you can use to attack or to battle, you know, with your opponent or to win, right? And at the time when you are practicing, you could even feel your coach deodorant, right? You feel his presence simply because you guys are close, right? But when it's time, or when the day for the match comes, right? He does not get to be in the playground. He does not get to be in the play field, right? But he gets a sit right next to where you guys are going to be playing, right? But because he is a bit far, it's going to feel like you are not feeling his presence. Like it's going to, like, you are not even going to feel his deodorant anymore, because now the proximity is not the same. Now you guys are being like, there's a little distance between you guys, like, right? You are in the play field with your opponent, but that does not mean that your coach is not in favor of your team. It does not mean that your coach is not in favor of you. Your coach is there, and he just wants to see you shining. He wants to see you shining and practicing and doing all the things that he taught you to do. He wants to see you battling with your opponent. He wants to see you, you know, wrestling with life, wrestling with your opponent or whoever you are playing with, right? And that is how life is. That is how God functions, right? Or operates, right? The time when you are not feeling his presence, as I said, it is a time when he was preparing you. Same thing as a coach, right? But on the day, or when your season comes, the season that God and you have been preparing for, or the season that God was preparing you for, when it comes, it's going to feel like his presence is not there, right? Because now he's sitting there and he wants you to shine. He wants you to wrestle with life. He wants you to wrestle with your season. He wants you to, like, to contest with it, right? And to make sure that, you know what, you win. God is there on the side watching you, and he wants you to shine. He wants you to fight. You know, whatever season that you are in, whatever challenge or predicament, he wants you to fight it, because God has prepared you for it. And just because you are not feeling the presence of God, just because you are no longer, you know, feeling like you are burst into in his presence, it does not mean that he's not there. You know, just because you're not feeling something, it does not mean that it's not there. You know, Jesus, when he was being crucified, he said, Lord, Lord, why have you forsaken me? And I'm like, you know, if it was Paul or Peter or John or anyone, probably one of the disciples, I would understand. But this is Jesus talking. This is the Son of Man, and not only the Son of Man, this is the man who is 100% God. He's telling God that, why have you forsaken me? He's asking God, why have you forsaken me? And I'm like, you know, I don't just take my phone, right? Or I don't just pick up my phone and call my friend and say, friend, why have you forsaken me? Or these days, man, you have forsaken me. Why is it that? Why are you doing that? I can't pick up my phone, right, and tell my friend or ask my friend, why has she forsaken me, if I am not feeling a gap, if I am not feeling, you know, abandonment vibes, or if I'm not feeling exclusion vibes or things like that. I don't do that. The only time when I introduce the word forsake or forsaken, it means I'm feeling a particular gap. I'm feeling a certain amount of gap between us. And that is how Jesus was feeling when he was being crucified. He told God, or he asked God, why have you forsaken me? Simply because he was not feeling the presence of God. simply because he was not feeling the presence of God. And I'm like, you are not alone. Just because you are not feeling the presence of God does not mean that God does not love you. It does not mean that God is not there. It does not mean that his presence is not there. It does not mean that he's not hearing you or he's not listening. God is listening. God is hearing you, and he just wants you to be present in the moment. God wants you to be present in the moment, to wrestle with whatever season that you are currently facing. You just need to be able to, detect and identify the problem that you are facing, or the predicament that you are facing, so that you can manage it. Crises don't come into our lives so that they can manage us. We are there to manage them. You don't get a predicament in your life so that it can manage you. You have to manage it. And until you identify it, until you tell yourself that, you know what, I'm going to do something about it, be it seeking therapy, be it talking about it, be it crying or healing or studying, it's going to manage you. It's going to manage you. So you have to make sure that you identify it and manage it before it manages you. And that is what God wants us to do, to be able to manage our challenges, to be able to manage our problems before they manage us. And I hope that you are going to start managing your problems. You are going to know that from here on, when you are not feeling the presence of God, it does not mean that God does not love you. It does not mean that God is not there. It does not mean that God is not listening. God hears you. God is listening. You just have to be able to, you just have to continue, continue praying, continue seeking his presence, continue seeking or continue worshiping, right? Just be in the moment. Be in the moment and make sure that you wrestle with whatever it is that you are currently facing. Make sure that you wrestle with life. Make sure that you contest with it, until you win. That is why it's called life, right? We just have to wrestle with it. We just have to contest until we win, because we were brought in this earth to be winners and not losers. Anyway, I hope that helped you, and that you are going to subscribe and like and share and comment. I am out. Bye bye.